Welcome to Friday Night Party Line.
The only question is, am I going to fuck this up again? Apparently the answer is yes. Every time.
Hold on, this is some weird beeping. You hear that?
What's beeping?
Yeah, I can hear that.
That's my uninterruptible power supply telling me that at present it is very interruptible. The battery's a bit gone.
Am I more centered on my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dead middle. Excellent. Okay. Good work.
Yes, very good. This is starting off excellent. Let me see. You bet. Well, I'll take this opportunity to pop out the chat so I can keep it on screen while the beeping is going. J-Bance is in. J-Bance is in the chat.
J-Bance is always
I cannot play that song.
What?
I can't play that song.
What do you mean?
On the stream. Can't do it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's copyrighted. It's called The Spanish Flea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Yep. All right, here we go. So finally. All right. Welcome to Friday Night Party Line. It's Friday, November 10th, and on the show tonight we've got ScoJo. Hey, ScoJo.
Whoa, introduced first. So
yeah.
weird.
Yeah. How you doing,
I think
man?
it's a trend now.
I know,
It's kind
right?
of a trend, actually, yeah. Ever since he started griping about it.
It gave me time to say something witty. Well,
Yeah.
It's going pretty good. I am still dieting, and I switched to a 10-hour, 4-day-a-week schedule, so I'm really tired.
Aww.
It
That's
can't be a
Have a whole
coincidence that
day to
dieting.
yourself.
It can't be a coincidence that dieting is so close to dying.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's like the biggest dad joke about dieting that, I've always fond of the idea of dieting, I just don't like the word. The first 3 letters spells die.
True.
It would be sweet release. Like, since... I'll let someone else go until it's my introduction.
There you go. Well, since you bring it up, hey, Churbs.
Hi.
Hi. I remember when you used to start each episode saying hello in a different language.
Yeah, I ran out of languages that I knew and then I forgot to look more up.
How far did you get?
About 15 or 20 languages.
Yeah. He was
I
doing
know how to
pretty
say
good.
hello in a lot of ways. Thanks, Google.
Nice.
I thought he was opening up Flickr each time and seeing what a random-ass language it gave him to say hello in.
Oh, no, but it has been a very busy couple of weeks since PAX. I've PAXed. Also, the news that I thought I would have time to put on the stream, but then I forgot what week it was that I'm actually, or was actually, the deputy head of SAT Theatres at PAX Ost now, so yay, come watch me walk 30 kilometers a day. I'm not even fucking joking, like, my fucking pedometer is like, are you dead?
Were you in a car this whole time?
A very bumpy car?
But yeah, no, it's been a hell of a couple of weeks with the Mueller indictment, the Section 44 wrecking ball down here just like basically taking the balance of power and saying it would be a shame if something happened to it. Not to mention then all of the people coming out recently as fucking sexual harassers, and then
Indeed.
also the situation with Patel in the UK, and fucking...
Well, Chirp,
I'm just ready to kill myself, Jesus.
such is the life of a journalist, eh?
Yes!
At least you get paid, right?
I get paid, not nearly enough for the amount of work I do.
Never enough. Journalism is one of those jobs that kind of gotta be labors of love, because if it isn't, oh boy.
Like, people say, oh yeah, you gotta wonder about the military, it's people being sent out to die with equipment that's built by the lowest bidder to be issued to people who just don't really want to be there. Well, guess what? Do you know how much they're handing people along with a gun that is basically able to blow a kneecap off the world? The answer is I barely make rent.
Oh, that's terrible. We also have George. Hey, George.
How's it going?
Please be a little less depressing than Churba right now.
Can't help you. Sorry.
You had that pot roast. That was kind of great.
It was pretty great.
Hit me, ping me on the Hangouts again. I want to share a picture of that pot roast.
This
This
Hangouts?
Yeah. So I can save that picture. There we go.
Oh, there it is. I picked up a pin
man,
at
that's
PAX
a
Dos,
delicious looking potty
actually.
roast.
Potty
Let's see
roast?
here.
Potty roast.
That's something very different.
That is not at all what I made, but okay.
What?
On that pin. Oh my
Where is
god.
that? Where is the?
Kill
What am I
me.
looking at here?
Nice. That's pretty nice.
Nice and slowly simmered.
I have some excellent
Let's see here. Where can
pins.
I? Oh, cool. You know, I'll just replace my overlay with a pot roast. That's what I'll do.
Oh my god.
Also,
You could
I have
do
the
that.
Oh
finest...
my god. This is... Look at that pot roast.
That is a good
So
pot roast.
This is so good.
It actually looked far more impressive. That's, post-consumption.
No, I know. But oh my god, pot
It
roast.
just felt like I touched it with a fork and it just went. "Bleh." I can't possibly hold together anymore.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, poor pot
Oh yeah,
roast.
Victor, I have a pin
Yeah.
for the next time we do Doki Doki Literature Club,
Oh my god.
along with...
Oh god, no. What is it? What is that expression called? A
Ahego.
hego?
Yes.
There it is, yeah.
And of course, my personal favourite, the finest pin I've ever purchased.
Well, you can wear those pins. I'll put on my my Pearl Point pin. I got a Pearl Point
Nice. That
from
is
the
a
Pearl
badass
Prize
pin.
pouch.
I like
It's
that.
a good pin. It's nice. Speaking of, before we actually get, we got Jonathan Abrams. Hey, Jonathan.
Hi, I came for the pot roast. I'm staying for the podcast.
See,
That was good.
good. Yeah, well done.
I've been thinking about that the whole time while all of you were talking.
There you go. See,
It's
there's
better
a
than my
man who's
suggestion.
not wasting his time. There you go.
See, ScoJo, see why you shouldn't bitch about your order?
I know, right?
See, like, the best I had with is he's named after a tank and he's here to talk about Louis C.K. having a wank.
That's really good too.
Or alternatively,
I will fucking sing Spanish Flea and get us content ID.
they won't
Don't
do
you
that.
start
You're
with
not-
me.
Sorry, Chirp, you're not that good of a singer. Oh. It's such a good song.
I know.
All right.
Every
well,
time I hear it, I think back to this old sketch show called Full Frontal, I believe it was, and this fucking comedian called Sean McAuliffe had a bit where he like dressed up and pretended to be Fabio and gave love tips, and it was the best fucking segment. Every single one of them ended with him dancing to Spanish Flea, like doing the Carlton to Spanish Flea even. It was so fucking weird.
Yeah, for us here, the Spanish Flea was the probably best known for being the theme song to the dating game. So yeah.
Dating is never a game.
Dating is war.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And then, of course, into my head pops up, "You betrayed the law." Law. I was listening to the Judge Dredd fucking greatest movies ever, and of course I had to go back and watch the Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd. So
Wait, the greatest movie ever wasn't the Stallone Dread?
it was the Stallone Dredd.
Oh, okay, it was.
Also, that is a good podcast. You should listen to fucking
Stallone
Paul
Dredd.
on greatest movie ever. Also, we should probably get Paul on sometime and talk about films.
Yeah.
It's not like we don't know the guy.
You know, we need to get like one episode that's all about just talking about films. We have Paul on, and we'll have Erin on. Erin got her degree in film writing.
We'll have me on because I once described Drive Angry as sort of like making sensational angry love to a British Arab hooker ODing on speedballs.
What?
All right, well, let's actually get to the topics.
We have
for
topics?
the show. Yeah, we have topics.
Oh, fuck, what are they?
And I don't mean the trading market.
I've seen these. I should actually go back and find out what they are. He said,
Well, the first
obviously
one that we
lying,
got-
since my lower third is a reference to the first one.
Yeah. So the first topic, and I'm kind of sad Nelson couldn't be on to talk about this one because he was a griping about this. Twitter has bumped up the max character count for the tweets up to 280 characters from the original 140. Now, who here still remembers why it was 140 in the first place?
I don't even use Twitter. I'm not really.
Can I get a...
I believe it had something to do with cell phones.
Yes, it did.
I forget.
I'm pretty sure if you dig back in my Twitter feed like years now, there are updates from me where I literally text messaged to update Twitter.
There you
From-
go. You
from
got
the
it. That's
Dubai Airport.
exactly what. Used to be,
Somebody
and I don't know if
actually
this
did that?
still works. Yeah. I don't know if this still works or not, but it used to be that you could text message 40404 and it'll just because you register your phone number with the site ahead of time, whatever you tweet it, whatever you SMS to it, it'll tweet it out.
Man, back then I had an iPhone 3G, and it was the newest iPhone that was out.
Let's see. This 280 character business apparently ruffled a lot of people's feathers for some reason.
It's the internet.
Why do we go?
Something
go ahead, ScoJo.
changed. Now it's like something changed on the internet. Oh my god, we got to bitch about it.
Oh my god, it's different. What do we do?
Literally, Twitter exists so people can comment on inane changes that they don't like. So, I mean, how would that not be the case that people would not complain about increasing the amount that you could say something on Twitter?
Mm-hmm.
I opened up Twitter, and literally the first thing I see is an enormously long tweet from Owen saying that important reminder, @Jack is a Nazi sympathizer. Unrelated reminder, punching Nazis and or their supporters is a victimless crime. I'm like, well, okay, Owen, thanks for that. Could you have put that in one line instead of... Well, actually, I suppose he did put it in one line. It's just a fucking vertical line. But yes, we've already done punching Nazis, so we're not talking about that.
No, we're not. We've already been there. We've been there, done that.
But yes, Christmas fucker Owen is definitely using his 280 characters in possibly the best worst way.
Here's a question. Since I don't use Twitter, maybe someone can explain this to me. But if they
Right.
keep increasing the character limit, doesn't it just basically become email?
No, it becomes Tumblr.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because email would be specifically to a person or like a list, whereas like
Yeah.
Twitter's kind of out there unless you have it private.
Yeah.
Okay. That's true.
So
becomes-
right now, if 140 characters was a tweet, what is this, a bird song?
Yeah. I mean,
No.
couldn't you also get around it though by just taking a picture of your message and posting that?
Yeah, that's the
That's
BS.
literally what people did, yeah.
Yeah, is this what
Yeah,
they used to
people
do?
have done that.
Either
Okay.
that or they just make a Medium account and post there instead where nobody cares.
Well, now that Twitter posts are long enough that people can do that celebrities can do full-on apologies in them, you got to wonder if that's encroaching on Medium's business model.
I saw that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really. I mean, who? Honestly, my biggest problem with Twitter was always when somebody had a really crappy idea and they tweeted about it, and you had to try to explain to them why they were wrong in 140 characters, and it was just a big pain in the butt.
I usually just resorted to calling people fuckheads.
Yeah. Well, I try to explain.
Well, I mean,
you know,
that
as a
works too,
liberal,
but,
you know, conservatives are the ones that use simple sentences. I like to go into a very long explanation of why you're wrong.
I'm pretty sure you are so wrong that not only is 140 characters not enough, a fucking novel is not enough.
How many characters is that?
Yeah, wait a
don't
minute.
know.
I'll have to look that one up.
I'm like 90% sure it fits.
But
I always
think
found
it was
myself.
just yeah.
No, I just always found myself like a few spaces away from being able to say anything that I wanted to say. I would always have to like delete spaces and like remove punctuation just to get like that last word word in a statement. So I'm happy, unlike you guys or
Honestly,
other people.
no, I'm very happy because previously to get down to 140 characters, quite often I'd find myself sacrificing little bits of punctuation, like an apostrophe here or a comma there, and it killed me a little bit every single time.
The Oxford comma is going to rise like a phoenix.
The Oxford
find the most
comma is
interesting
for
use of
punk
the,
ass bitches, and I will be an M-man till the day I die.
The use of the M dash does not preclude the use of the Oxford comma.
Depends
You know
how
that's
use it.
true.
I know it's true.
Okay. I think the most creative use of this 280 character limit is rather than doing like little text emoji type, not emojis, the emoticons, you know, with the fancy Japanese characters mixed in them to make them look super cool. I've been seeing a lot of ASCII art in tweets.
Yeah.
Which is kind of great.
ASCII art, the lost art.
It's apparently not lost.
It is not lost, George.
It's just all on GameFAQs.
GameFAQs and readmes of pirated software. That's where they are. Yeah, I was hoping. Damn, Nelson's really got really butthurt about the 280 thing. It's a shame he's not on here. Oh well. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
You
Well-
threw him a topic.
That's what happens when you have like a life.
A life. Yeah.
What's this life you speak of?
I don't know. But Nelson has one. All right. Anyways, let's see. So, perhaps the most timely thing we're going to talk about on the show this week, Louis C.K. Churba, do you want to give us a rundown of what happened here?
Basically, for a while, there's been rumors swirling about a certain beloved comedian maybe, like, trapping women in hotel rooms so that he can masturbate in front of them. And, like, in other places, like in his office, when he's got employees right outside and things like that. Rumors like that have been going around for a while, but, well, I'm just going to say just recently, but I'll have more to say on that in a minute. Just recently, the New York Times posted an expose. Yeah, by the way, turns out literally all of those rumors are true, and it's Louis C.K. Louis C.K. has been forcing women to watch him masturbate for fucking years. And of course, nobody could come out and talk about it because anybody who did was basically just dead in the comedy community from that point forward. So he always targeted people that he had power over.
Jesus.
Yep. 2016, when all your heroes died, and 2017 is just the year when they just become dead to you instead.
Yep, basically.
Yeah.
I feel like somewhere Bill Cosby is laughing and like saying, "How do you like it, motherfuckers?"
That somewhere is, unfortunately, not jail.
Yeah.
so
Not jail yet.
here's an interesting angle on this story. Do you think all these these events that we're hearing about are coming to light because we had a person who ran for president who had like 13 or 40 people say that he did inappropriate things with them, and everybody ignored it. And like now it's just kind of like we're just gonna we need to get it out. Like this is so frustrating that this guy became president after all these people came forward. That like now it's time to take out these other people who might not be as powerful in terms of the president of the United States. You know what I mean? Like it's just a good. I mean, I don't know if it's just like
no.
The well has been broken, or well, I don't know.
It would be
Well,
ironic.
The wall wasn't broken by Trump. The wall was, I think, broken by the Harvey Weinstein case.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
Well, I would go far. I think Harvey Weinstein broke the wall, but I think you started seeing cracks with Cosby, and then with Trump, and then Harvey Weinstein was just the
Kool-Aid man.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
Actually,
it is
in this case, it's more like, oh no.
No.
But it is ironic that the person with the most power who has been accused of this is the person who has suffered the least fallout and the least repercussions because he's president. And
it's kind of like an object lesson in like this is how someone with power can use it and abuse people around them.
And let's not forget Roy Moore.
Oh yes, Roy
God.
Moore.
Roy Moore outed as a fucking pedophile. Or
but
fucking
Joseph was in his 30 and Mary
pedophile,
was in her
whatever the fuck.
teens when they got married and they had Jesus, so it's okay.
Yeah,
You guys
that was
hear that?
2,000 years ago, back when your jank-ass motherfucking Republican Party fucking belongs. Not yours, obviously, but...
Look, Bibb County Republican Chairman Jerry Powell said, I would vote for Judge Moore because I don't want to vote for Doug. I'm not saying I support what he did, but...
No, you're
you're
just
gonna
supporting the
support
man
him.
that did it, you fucker.
That's literally exactly what you're doing.
Yup.
You're saying
So-
it doesn't matter.
We're kind of balancing out here. On one hand, all of these stories are coming out, so, that's a good thing. It's not a good thing it happened, it's a good thing these stories are coming out and people are finally, seeing what horrible, awful things are happening and people are doing things about it. On the other hand, we have also discovered that the Republicans will literally support a pedophile and excuse pedophilia as long as it means that they can stay in power.
Yeah, somebody was like, man, Anthony Weiner was in the wrong party. If only he was a Republican, he'd still be in office, probably.
Anthony
that's
Weiner
true.
Anthony Weiner is the #1 reason that we can say for certain that Hillary Clinton wasn't fucking killing
Exactly.
people.
Example number 1.
Because he would have been iced.
It's always crazy to me, though, that the Republicans are supposed to be the party of the moral majority and Christian values, and yet they're completely willing to overlook all of that if someone is ideologically in their camp.
Well, considering the quote that you whipped out for us before, I'd say that maybe it's not that they're going away from biblical values, it's more just that they're picking up the wrong ones.
Yeah.
Oh.
Expect a bill in 2018 for selling your children, particularly your daughters, into slavery.
I mean, somebody actually...
Throw
when
your,
they say-
throw your
they said-
children onto fires.
It was like John the Baptist was another example of somebody like who was
I
born
hate
from
this
in the
world.
Bible or something. I'm just like, really, guys, really, like family values. You're really taking that really literally.
I hate this world and everything that the GOP stands for.
Well, that's okay, George. The world is kind of terrible at the moment. But if there's
Tuesday
any,
partially restored my faith in humanity.
I'm sorry, what did?
Tuesday.
Oh yes.
We had
The
some-
elections that happen in a vast amount of states in this country.
Don't worry,
So
we'll get there in a moment. There is
Okay.
one more thing I would like to note about the Louis C.K. thing.
Oh yes.
Okay.
We have known about this since 2012. Gorka broke this story in 2012. Gorka broke the story again with a name and shame piece in 2015. Both times we laughed it off and went, ha ha ha, no, couldn't possibly. And then we turned around and allowed a right-wing garbage vampire to suffocate Gorka with money.
Yeah.
So,
Peter Thiel.
and not to mention, this particular story has been kicked around for months because people weren't brave enough to publish it. The woman who wrote about this, who wrote this story, is in Vice today saying that trying to get this story published nearly killed her career. Harvey Weinstein's story kicked around for months because nobody was brave enough. Roy Moore, head of Amazon Video, that scandal kicked around for months. The R. Kelly story about him literally leading a fucking sex cult and fucking underage girls kicked around for 9 months because nobody was brave enough to publish it after the Gawker verdict. If at this point you have not come back on supporting Teal's crusade against Gawker and said like, hey, yeah, maybe I fucked up there and I should have listened to all of the people, especially journalists, saying this is not a good thing, we shouldn't support this, then what the fuck is wrong with you? You are, at this point, actively hurting people with your denial simply because you don't want to turn around and say, I did the wrong thing. So take a fucking long, hard look at yourself, you jank-ass motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's a lesson, right? That if you start hearing about things and you take it as just like hearsay, that maybe you should actually investigate and find out what's going on. Or like when comedians are making jokes at the Oscars about how these women no longer have to pretend they like Harvey Weinstein, like maybe there's a bigger problem going on there that should be investigated.
Perhaps. I mean, the thing is that the issue is that when you as an audience member, when you as a member of the audience like someone, you know, when you like a celebrity, when you have an affinity towards a celebrity, you think they're funny, you think they're, you know, really interesting, you think they're really cool, they play a lot of great parts. There's this unfortunate thing that you don't want to break that that bubble of admiration with these, to borrow a phrase from Al Gore, inconvenient truths.
You could say the same thing about professional athletes.
Of course, yeah. I mean, like, obviously, like the Blade Runner guy from the Olympics, one with the two.
Oh, Oscar Pistorius.
Oscar Pistorius, yeah, that's the one. Who fucking murdered his girlfriend? Good Christ! And there's this want to ignore those horrible things about these people. I remember when this was only a couple of days ago, you know, when there was sneak peeks of saying, hey, you know, there's this big story about Louis C.K. about to come out. My first reaction was, oh, please don't let it be anything bad. And
yeah,
it was, of course, horrible.
Basically the worst.
I have to tell you, the Kevin Spacey one kills me the most. Like, there's an actor that I really loved almost everything he's been in.
Yeah.
But, you know, the great thing is that, you know, not too long ago, stuff like this, it would have been just completely, it would have been in the news cycle for like a week or so, and then, if it got in the news cycle, and then it would have been gone. And the celebrities would have continued along their merry way. But Kevin Spacey, he's been dropped from Netflix. His movie that's going to be coming out soon, in about a month, Christopher Plummer is going to be replacing him in all the parts. I don't know how they're going to do that, but they're going to replace him in all the scenes that Kevin Spacey was in the 1 month that's left before that movie comes out.
I really kind of want that to be really, really terrible CGI.
Well, they could go. Not
Does
to
that
get
would
too
be
much
really
in the weeds here.
Why don't they just blur out his face the whole time?
Well, not to get too deep in the weeds here, but there's a few ways they could do this. They can either reshoot everything, which is going to take a lot of time, and then it's going to be a ton of VFX. Depending on how much VFX is in the film. 2, they can do Christopher Plummer's parts in front of a green screen and then just put him on top of Kevin Spacey in those shoots.
Yeah, that's what I want, but I want it to be done very poorly.
They're gonna do it poorly, George. Or they could do a head replacement, which is, I think, one of the most cool ways they could do it, and I really want to see how they might get away with that. But Anyways. Louis C.K., just to make sure that the people listening know what's up on this, he has been dropped by FX, which means no more Louis. That's gone. He's been dropped by his management and his publicist. So there you go.
Yeah, turns out Louis C.K., horrible person.
Yeah. Damn it. Oh well. It was funny though. It's kind of sad because everybody was like, "Oh wow, Louis C.K. is going to be the next George Carlin." So.
Could I ask
know,
something?
Was George Carlin a horrible serial, sexual offender too, or what?
He was just a drug addict.
Yeah, I thought that was just what he was doing. Drug addict, comedian, and Mr. Conductor.
Yeah.
Forever and always, Mr. Conductor.
Man, it was such a trip the first time I heard his stand-up. I was like, why does that voice sound so familiar? Look at Mr. Conductor.
Because comedians need to eat, yo.
Yeah, they do. All right, then. Let's see here. Next thing on the list of things to talk about. We've got this thing going on here where during the election we had this horrific pendulum swing to the right. And now things seem to be kind of shifting back, now that as this year, God, it's been a year since he was elected.
Yep.
Yep.
3 more to
It
go.
was about a year ago today, that we were all sitting in Overwatch, and I could not play because I was starting to have a panic attack.
Yeah. Yep.
It's also about a year ago that I started having panic attacks.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
Related?
I have all kinds of anxiety. It probably wasn't the election that did it, but the election was what sort of pushed it to the forefront of problems I had to deal with.
Yeah. So it's been about a year, and I don't know, do you guys, I feel like the political pendulum is starting to swing back towards the left. What do you guys think? I mean, especially given Tuesday.
My delegate for Virginia House beat the GOP majority whip. I hoped it was going to happen, but I really didn't think it was going to happen. I thought maybe, best case, we were going to beat him by a point. We beat him by 10.
Yeah, that's Ralph Northam, isn't it?
No, that
You're
was
thinking of the governor.
Yeah, that was the governor.
This was Lee Carter defeated Jackson Miller.
I think that the energy is there on the left. It's trying the real trick that we're going to have to do is trying to harness that energy and translate that into victory at the polls. Because I think that the Democrats are notoriously bad at squandering this energy and then just being bad at the local level. And
No, they're good at squandering the energy. That's the problem.
yes, that's what I meant. Sorry. They're bad at translating that energy. And I think Tuesday was a sign that they could do it. Whether or not that energy will be sustainable for another year, and then whether or not it'll translate all across the country, I am hopeful about, but I don't know.
All right, wait. Okay, so what do you think is going to happen in the next year that would cause Democrats, liberals, and progressives to be less energized?
I'll answer this. Here's what I think is going to happen is the same thing we saw in 2009 and 10, and that is the Democrats, energized with this wave of majority, are going to go to their respective houses. They are going to get nothing done because the GOP is going to stall and procedure them to death. And then voters are just going to be like, well, it doesn't fucking matter. Nothing ever gets done in government.
No, but you're missing a point here,
Ditto,
right? Like
twiddle
that's
and resolve. Nothing ever will be solved.
The reason that occurred was because the Democrats were in charge of the presidency and at that time the House and Senate. Right now, they have literally nothing. Like they only have what, like 8 states where Democrats are actually in charge of each branch, compared to 26 states where the Republicans have the governorship and the House and state Senate in those states. Like the Democrats are so down that
They only can go up.
Yeah, they can pretty much only go up. Yeah, I mean the thing that was incredible about Virginia was everybody. It was kind of hip on like Twitter, political Twitter, to be like, "Oh, Northam's a terrible candidate and he's going to lose," but in reality, he was always up ahead on the polls, and it wasn't surprising that he won. It's surprising that
it narrowed at the end there. It was freaking scary.
It got down to about 3 percentage points, which was a statistical error.
Narrowing, just a narrowing at the end would mean that he would have won by like 2 or 3 points. He won by 9 points. He did better than Hillary Clinton did in a presidential election in a state that with voters that tend to only come out on presidential elections.
She went 5%, I believe.
Yeah, she went 5. He did 9. He actually improved upon that on an off year. That's because Obama's not the president. So, no matter the thing about Democrats and local elections is when they got the top, they always think about the presidency. And during the Obama years, for some reason, Democrats just decided to just give up state houses. And we just lost state house after state house. We didn't run candidates. The big lesson that Virginia has for Democrats is put people up. You can't win if you don't run anybody. And in a lot of those seats in Virginia, they never had anybody running against those people before.
Well, they have to have someone to run. It was really the thing that changed. I remember these meetings at the Democratic committee, people saying, "Hey, I'm going to run for delegate seat." And to be honest, when Lee Carter first stood up at one of those meetings and said, "Hey, I'm going to run for delegate," I was like, "Awesome. You're going to lose, but awesome." It was like, he wants to run against the majority whip. There's no way. There's just no way he's going to win. Same thing with Danica Rome. Danica Rome, the next district over. An openly trans woman running against the most Republican conservative asshole in Virginia. Even it's in Northern Virginia. I'm just like, there's no way people are this progressive. I cannot believe she actually got elected. It's awesome, but it blows my mind.
Well, you know what? I mean, ScoJo, you ask what is it that, we think would change or happen that would, demotivate this demotivate Democrats going out and voting. And my biggest fear is complacency, or feeling like, we got a trans woman to win a formerly Republican seat in a southern state, and we got this and that done, and I guess we solved everything. Let's go home, guys.
Yeah, no, what I worry about is people, they didn't vote properly in 2016, came out this year because, I didn't vote, and oh my God, look what happened. So they've done something, but then they're going to come back a year later and go, nothing's changed in a whole year. Why should I bother voting? It doesn't make any difference.
I'm also worried about the Democratic Party eating itself, in that candidates who aren't perfect not being supported, because
you mean ideological purity being the problem?
That is my biggest fear, in that I don't want the Democratic Party to kind of embrace the Tea Party tactics.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm just not going to support the pedophiles. We have to draw a line somewhere, and pedophiles is where it's going to be.
I, weirdly enough, don't agree.
Oh?
Not about the pedophiles. Not about the pedophiles.
I think we can all agree on the pedophiles.
What? Well, no, apparently the Republicans can't.
Okay.
To borrow a line, there is a lot of things that I could do with a hatchet and a pedophile. But, I mean, about ideological purity and such, I don't think that is so much of a hazard for the Democrats. Simply because it's primarily a domain of the leftists at the moment. It's the leftists who are going, we're not supporting this person because they're not pure enough, they're not pure enough, they're not left enough. And then these people go out and win anyway. So, thanks guys. But like, they're the ones who are turning around and basically trying to beat on the Democrats as hard as they can at every opportunity. And then when the Democrats turn around and go, hey, you know what? Fuck off. Everyone starts going, oh, inter-party fighting, so divisional. You know, oh, party divides. No, there's not party divides. It's people who aren't really part of the party and don't really want to be part of the party turning around and getting fucking stuck in, and people just going, well, they must be Democrats because they're fucking lefties. No, they're not.
Fucking Bernie bros. Fuck them.
No,
It's
don't
not
want
just Bernie
to.
bros at this point.
Okay. Well,
Though, I do find it interesting how many political journalists are turning around and going like, hey, Bernie Sanders, what's the future of the Democratic Party? I've got an idea,
How the
guys.
hell would he
Ask
know?
an actual fucking Democrat. Bernie's not a fucking Democrat. He quit months ago. What the fuck are you doing?
And he wasn't a Democrat before he started running for president either.
Exactly. I mean, I don't blame the guy. It's a good idea. They had the apparatus, they had the money, they had the support to, you know, help him out if he won. And I also don't blame the party for bringing him in because big tent, guys. The Democratic Party has always been a fucking big tent. They'll take people who'll fucking sign on and at the dotted line. They're like the Catholics. They'll take you as soon as they're fucking warm.
Yeah, you know, there's like 5 different points here I have, but one of the quick ones is I think people constantly forget that the Democratic Party has certain demographics. They have the entire ideological spectrum of that demographic. So you have conservative Democrats and liberal Democrats. Meanwhile, the Republican Party has been constantly just destroying their moderate wing, just trying to get rid of them like crazy.
But
So
are the
whenever-
moderates abandoning the Republican Party to vote Democrat? That's the question.
Well, they are. I mean, that's the thing. Like, what
It didn't
we're doing
happen
is
at
we're
the
losing-
presidential
we're
election.
It did. You did lose. You would be surprised how many Republicans I know of the more college-educated variety shifted from being a reliable Republican voter to a Democrat. It's just that there was a bunch of Democratic voters that shifted over at the same time, and there was more of those people that did.
There's also
Isn't
the point
isn't that
that
one
a
of the
lot
major
of the
markers of whether or not someone is going to be a Republican, whether or not someone's going to be a Democrat, whether they're college educated or not?
yes, statistically yes, and that's also what I was kind of getting to there for a moment, was that a lot of the people who did split away from the Republican Party statistically still didn't vote Democrat. They either voted for someone else or didn't vote.
Yeah.
Especially all those libertarians. Good Christ.
Yeah, the Libertarian Party saw a lot of big bumps this election and managed to get nowhere because they're fucking crazy.
So I have a story about first past the post voting and how it sucks.
All right,
And how a
CGP
third party,
Johnson, let's go.
yeah, and how a third party. So there was a judge race in Pennsylvania. Overall, Democrats did really well in Pennsylvania. My hometown, which hasn't had a Democrat in council, got 2. Like, if they had only run a third person, they would have knocked out the president of council and like had 3 of the 7 people be Democrats, which had never happened before. However, in Upper Dublin, I should say, at a state level, there's a Superior Court judge. Well, there was one Green Party person that ran, and there was a judge that, unfortunately, a Democrat who was listed 4th on the Democratic side, who was from Upper Dublin, the place I'm from. Oh, I just gave away where I live. And then the Green Party person was also from that place. So when people would come in, the Green Party didn't have a plan on which judge they wanted them to not vote for when they picked 4, because it was a pick 4. So everybody came in, and when they picked all their Democrats, they took the last vote away from the last guy in the row just because he was the last one listed. So all these local people moved from the local guy to the Green Party because the Green Party guy was there. And of those judges, 3 Democrats got in and 1 Republican. That 1 Republican got in because the exact amount, almost like, 100,000 votes went to the Green Party person. And that was way under the margin, and that 4th person got way less votes than the other 3 just because of his position. And they just didn't have a plan. They took out probably the most liberal judge on the Democratic ticket by running a Green person who was trying to be, more liberal, right? And it just I'm so mad because there was no strategic thinking at all about how that would work. And that's where we run into danger. I mean, I worry about that. I don't foresee that being necessarily always a big problem. It would have been nice if there was a libertarian judge to draw some conservative votes off of the Republicans, and that might have helped. But it's so frustrating. And you try to explain this to people, and they just get so mad. Well, you don't want people to have choice. It's look, who helps the Green Party person blocking a Democratic guy with 1% of the vote that they gain? What do they accomplish? Whose ideology wins? No one's.
Cuts to a problem I have with the Democratic Party, and it also sort of cuts to the whole Bernie versus Clinton butthurt, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the Republican or the Democrats like to, the big tent thing is big, and we should be open and inclusive. It's no, guys, we are almost a corporate entity, and we need to play this game, and it is a game, to the best of our abilities. We need to stack the deck in every way possible because we are in it to win it. So it's just sort of we had a non-binding vote at my local committee where it's how do we want to run the primary for the district? And there were a bunch of things. There was a firehouse primary or a regular state-run primary. And the advantage of the firehouse primary is you can immediately have runoff elections if there's a tie, and you have basically complete control over the rules, which might seem unfair, but it also, you can stack the deck. That's the whole point, is to win. No one wanted to do that. I was the only person who raised their hand. Everyone else wanted an orderly state-run primary. I'm no, fuck that. I want to choose the best candidate who can defeat our GOP incumbent.
Mm-hmm.
Because
wait, so you're saying you want caucuses so that the activists can be in control? That sounds like a bad move.
As a political journalist, I could probably do with a few nice and orderly primaries.
Caucuses are incredibly undemocratic.
No, they're horrible.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is
but they're convenient
primaries
for political maneuvers.
Are forever inside baseball. They only attract the diehards, and that's the way it should be. It should be the people who really care about this thing. And then, come general election time, it's then, okay, hey, everyone come in now and be a part of this process. But primaries, who cares?
No, you know what? I am 100% in favor of primaries being open, but only allowing independents and Democrats to be in the Democratic one, and the Republican having independents or Republicans. And independents, when they come forward, they have to declare which party they're going to be in. And you want to have as many people participate in the primary as possible, because in some places like Philadelphia or New York City, the Democratic primary is the only race that actually matters. That's the only time anybody's going to make some sort of vote. And one of the problems the Republican Party has is their primary base is way crazier than their normal base. So they end up, all their run-of-the-mill normal Republicans get wiped out in the primaries, or they have to change parties, or they retire because they know they can't survive a primary. I think that's, you know, you want to have as many people as you possibly can get in there and voice their opinion. So you put forward people that are closer to a consensus view, and we get away from this whole like compromise is horrifically bad.
What about what California did with the jungle primaries or whatever they're called?
I mean, that's great. That's also great, but it makes the primary like way more open for people to take part in. I mean, now you don't even have that in that case, you don't even have to be a part of the party. I mean, every party's running in that race. So you could have, if everybody wanted to be third party, you could have a libertarian and a green make it to the end, and the Republican and Democrat might not even get in. I mean, really, I would love that.
Please don't let the libertarians get in California.
I wouldn't love it. I wouldn't love it as ideological, but I'd love it as somebody who likes the process that something like that could happen, because we've opened up the system in a way that we could have people run and feel like they have a choice.
Wouldn't also gerrymandering, getting rid of it, also partially alleviate that problem? In that,
well,
especially on the Republican side, if you have fewer safe districts, then you can't have candidates that appeal just to the hardcore extreme ideology on either side, whether it's the left or the right.
Oh, John, the hot take after this election was that hot take that was like, well, look, the Democrats did so well. They, I mean, that must mean gerrymandering's not that big of a deal and it'll work out. And then you're like, they won the vote by 9% and they still didn't get the majority of the houses that were all up for grabs. I mean, it looks like it's going to be 49-51 unless one of the recounts goes their way. And they got 9% more. How big of a wave would you? I mean, actually, that's absolutely. And they're not even the worst. They were saying, they're like, if we had a 9% upswing in votes across the whole country, the Democrats still wouldn't take back the House.
Right. It's the efficiency gap formula or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, you're exactly right. Getting rid of gerrymandering would be a big boon, because no one should be safe. You shouldn't be able to pick your voters. You should face the people in your area, not just kick all the ones out that won't vote for you.
Yeah, this Jerry guy is a real motherfucker.
I know. He's
I do want to. I do want to. I don't know if this topic is ending, but I do want to end, or at least maybe just bring up a point that I find really inspiring. And that, at least in Virginia, out of the 15 seats that the Democrats flipped from the Republicans, 11 of those 15 are going to be held by women. And we have the first transgendered woman in Virginia. We have the first Asian woman in the House of Delegates, the first openly lesbian woman in the House of Delegates. We have 2 Latinas for the first time in the House of Delegates. And one of the great things that I am hopeful about going forward is that as a result of Trump is inspiring all of these people who had never considered to run for public office before to run for public office. And the more diverse our elected officials are, I think the better the country will be at the local level, at the state level, at the national level.
Not to mention it'll better represent the people that they are meant to represent.
Yes.
I mean, last time I looked, I've got a lot of things to say about America. A lot of them maybe not necessarily positive. But last time I looked, America was not 99% old white guys.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So.
Hey, I am at least middle-aged.
What are you going on about? I'm Middle Eastern. He's Australian. Well, Churba,
you're definitely not getting into this discussion.
Yeah,
we're definitely getting into this discussion.
Churba. You're Mr. Roboto right now. Go sort yourself out while I introduce the last topic. Go. All right, well, we've been at this for about an hour already. We did have one more topic. Guys, you want to do that, or do you want to go on to the usual final segment of the things that make us happy?
What was the topic?
Final topic was Disney getting their comeuppance.
I don't have anything to say, but, go for it.
Okay, so Disney, very big company. You may not know this.
What?
And they
Disney?
have theme parks.
I've never heard of Disney.
Really? Really?
Oh.
That doesn't surprise me one bit.
Wait, what do they have? What do they put out?
Mice?
Are they? Do they make hammers? Like, what do they do?
No. It's just movies about mice and animals. Occasionally they have some royalty sprinkled in, but whatever. Recently they got into comic books. So, but at any rate, Disney has a theme park. They have a few, smattering, allegedly. They have one here in Los Angeles called, you may have heard of it, it's called Disneyland. Very uncreative name, but what can you do? I know. And it's in Anaheim. And believe it or not, a lot of people go there. And they had this business arrangement with Anaheim, who owns the parking lot for Disneyland. Takes about over 10,200 cars. It can fit that many. And you would think, huge parking lot, they're renting it from the city of Anaheim. They're collecting all the parking fees and stuff like that. How much rent do you guys think that they would pay the city of Anaheim? For the parking lot.
Lots of money.
Lots of money?
Lots of money. I know I'm going to be wrong, but they...
Jonathan, would you be surprised to hear that they only pay the city of Anaheim $1 a year?
What?
Actually, yes, I would be surprised that they're even paying $1.
Yeah.
Well, they're
writing
that off
a year for the lease. And do you think Disney spent the money to build the parking lot?
Probably not. No.
No, they didn't. It was the city of Anaheim. City of Anaheim spent $108.2 million to build the parking lot.
Yeah, but how much money do they make in the taxes on the gas stations in the city of Anaheim? Because people need to fill up before they go home.
So here's the rub. This is where this whole issue sort of starts. The Los Angeles Times recently put out an expose of sorts. This was back in end of September, entitled "Is Disney Paying Its Share in Anaheim?" with the subtitle "The Money Battle Outside the Happiest Place on Earth." And well, the bulk of the article was basically driving at the point that, look, no, it doesn't. It really doesn't, and maybe this should be something that should change. Well, the House of Mouse did not take kindly unto that opinion, and in order to kind of twist the thumbscrews on the LA Times to get some to get some revenge, some punishment on the Los Angeles Times, they blocked LA Times reporters and movie critics from going to any screenings, from being on the in the press area on the Disney lot. They basically blocked out the LA Times. Now, Churba, as a journalist, how big of a fit would you fucking pitch about that?
None, because I'm a political journalist. I don't review films. We can literally hear George laughing through Jono's microphone.
I keep trying to mute myself so you guys don't hear an echo or anything.
that was still
catch the sudden outburst, so.
Yeah.
Oh, but no.
But seriously.
Well, I can't actually say that I would be that outraged personally, but I'd sure as hell kick up a stink in the press, because that's some bullshit.
That is some bullshit.
Exactly.
And while the LA Times announcing this was relegated to about maybe a 5 centimeter tall, segment in the paper, basically just saying there will be no reviews of Disney, Marvel, or Star Wars films coming up due to Disney blocking us from their press, normal press allowances. Just about every other major paper was like, whoa, what? Are you kidding me? And the story was drug and drug and drug all the way across the sheets making sure that everybody heard about it. The Hollywood Reporter got up on it. The Washington Post, Boston Herald, the whole bit. You know, all the New York Times, of course. Everybody was talking about it, and so about a little more than a month or so later, Disney backed off.
Yep.
Isn't that the system working? Like, I'm not in any way defending. I'm not in any way defending what Disney did, and what they did was really bad. But the fact that the other media outlets, whether it's the Washington Post, New York Times, whatever, were stood in solidarity with the LA Times, basically saying we're not going to do this either, says that, I mean, the system works. I mean, it self-corrected itself.
Yeah. And here's what makes, I think, this a little bit special. Disney is by far the largest media company on the planet. This is something that most people would not have expected to have worked out the way it did, with Disney backing off.
Someone got fired.
Maybe. Unless it was Bob Iger that came out and said, you know, LA Times not allowed here anymore.
Oh, God.
What?
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at...
What?
I'm looking at a certain website that we may have already discussed, because I had it open in a tab, and a tweet just came across my thing that is Disney-related, funnily enough.
Huh. Good news?
Maybe?
Maybe?
No, it's not. I'll happily read this to you. From Taika Waititi. And so, I did that. I put Immigrant Song over the top of it. Wait, no, that's the wrong accent. Never mind. And then played it for them. And they were like, oh, that's really cool. That's a cool song. What is that? I was like, in brackets, deadpan, it's the Immigrant Song. Led Zeppelin, one of the most famous songs of all time. And they were like, oh, cool, never heard that before. Very cool, very cool. And then I was like, oh, fuck, really worried now. And, yeah, when I got and that's where the clip cuts off. But it's, yeah, that is about how the Marvel executives had never heard the Immigrant Song until it was played for them by Taika Waititi.
What?
Jesus Christ.
And these are guys who are, like, in the perfect age bracket for like, when Led Zeppelin was the shit, man.
Possible? How is that possible?
Like, what the fuck happened to these people? Were they hatched from some weird executive egg? Do they emerge fully formed as fucking CEOs and CTOs and shit? What the fuck? This is more distressing for me than the fucking Louis C.K. thing. I don't give a fuck about Louis C.K., but you've never heard the fucking Immigrant Song?
I don't know, man. Hollywood execs. Maybe not people. Don't know.
Odd people.
Fucking lizards, man.
People.
Actually, no. They're not lizards, because I know
underneath the Hollywood sign.
I know some damn cool lizards. Shout out to Central Perkins.
Yeah,
The
but
fucking
this is
coolest lizard in New York.
Yeah, this is a really good sign that, you know, hey, the press still kind of has some teeth against big organizations. Maybe they can use it against the political establishment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The American press is a bit both ways on that, I'm afraid. And the fact that not just one, actually, a couple of your larger news networks are a bit weirdly right-wing.
A bit weirdly right-wing? A bit?
I'm trying to be nice to my colleagues here, because it would not particularly be good politics to say that there's a bunch of right-wing fucks that need to be excised from the profession with a fucking orbital laser. We need to shoot quite a number of our co-workers into the fucking sun. I don't mean the newspaper. They're bad enough.
Although that might be a good purgatory.
Actually, for Sean McAuliffe coming up the second time in this show, like, I remember a joke of his which was, you shouldn't stare directly into the sun, you'll go blind, and it's a terrible newspaper besides.
Oh, man.
Yeah. All right, so that was just that little bit of news was just being, hey, look at this good thing that happened. So hey, what good things are happening with you folks? What's been making you happy this past week? Start with Churba. Hey, Chirps, what you got?
Destiny. I've been playing
Destiny or Destiny 2?
Destiny 2, because Destiny 1 is not on PC. But I've been playing a decent amount of Destiny when I've been getting the time. And it is it is such a good game. What the fuck? Like,
So
I
you dropped
cannot
like
explain.
$100 your money on a video game, and you were surprised it was good?
No. Your
No.
brother-in-law dropped like $100.
Okay. All right.
But, yeah, no, it is. I was expecting it to be regular kind of AAA, pretty decent, and you know, I'd heard the original Destiny was a really good feeling game. I crazily underestimated how fucking tight and well polished this game feels. It has got its hooks in me fucking deep, man. I tell you what. And the other thing was, during PAX, I got to meet the titular unknown player from PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. And he is a pretty cool dude, and I apologise to him for dragging him on Twitter about the inventory thing, like, to his face.
One day I'll get that. I'll start playing PUBG.
Yeah, I swear, what we really need to do is we really need to get Giant Bomb to have Danny O'Dwyer interview him in audio, because I swear to God, he sounds exactly like Danny O'Dwyer. I don't just mean his accent, because, I mean, fucking, I'm usually pretty good with accents. No, I mean literally, his voice is exactly the same. And it is to a degree where it's creepy. They should just get them together and, like, make them do an interview, and nobody would be able to tell what the fuck was going on. It'd just sound like a dude talking to himself.
It'll come down to microphone technique to distinguish between them. ScoJo, what's been making you happy?
Man. Politics, obviously. They've been kind of going on the upswing. But we talked about that already.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that's making you happy.
I mean, seeing Republicans lose makes me happy. Actually, what I'm happy about is I just switched to a 4-day, 10-hour week schedule. So now I'll have 3-day weekends.
Means.
I used to have one of those way back
your
when.
work
It was nice.
schedule, because you said it earlier about your diet. I didn't know if that was like...
No, my diet is not making me happy.
Okay.
I mean, eventually I'll feel good. But now I work. I can pretty much just choose one day during the week and be off, so I can have 3-day weekends or just shuffle around. It's kind of nice.
3-day weekends all the time.
All the time, yeah. And I got like 2.5 weeks of vacation to burn before the end of the year, so I'm gonna be off a lot in the next 2 months.
Nice. That's good. You and the family can take a nice trip or something.
Oh God! Oh, I'm also really happy. I'm not driving to Indiana for Thanksgiving. No 13-hour trip with a child.
George, what's been making you happy?
We had some good election results here. That's made me hopeful.
That's good. Yeah. That's it.
I saw Weird Al's video. This is old news, but it's new to me. I saw Weird Al's "Please Don't Nuke Me, North Korea" or something video. I found
Weird
that
Al.
hilarious.
He is the one hero we can have who is safe.
Please, if there is a god, please don't make Weird Al a sexual predator. I know it's extremely unlikely, but please.
I know. I think at some point we just have to determine that all of Hollywood is awful.
The dude has
he's
giant
Canadian.
curly. The dude's Canadian, has giant curly hair, and plays an accordion. I'm pretty sure he's not getting laid,
I know.
illegitimately or otherwise.
I know. He's married. His wife is very beautiful.
I know. I feel a little
for
bit bad
him.
making fun of Weird Al like that. He has been
He's
my
a great
hero
guy.
since I was knee high. He is amazing.
He's about as likely to be a sexual predator as they might be giants.
Yeah,
Actually,
but who
Oh,
linked
man,
that story
I-
about George
I
Takei just now?
Dude, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I did. It was from Twitter. Well, it's from Hollywood Reporter reporting on George Takei apparently roofing some guy, somebody. I didn't read the story all the way.
Yeah, it's like, look, it's just all of
Oh,
Hollywood is
no.
full of sleaze bags. God
Look,
damn it.
I am not putting anybody out that possibly could have one of these stories pop up, because I feel like when people get a little bit of power and they don't have control for some reason or another, they screw up, or if they're just generally assholes.
Yeah. I remember we had a drama class trip to see Sweeney Todd. I fucking snuck out of Sweeney Todd like right at the start, and snuck into the Weird Al concert next door.
Oh my god, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I got caught by my drama teacher because my drama teacher was also sneaking into the Weird Al concert next door.
So wait, let me just get this straight. Did you get in trouble at that point, or did he just say, "Don't tell anybody"?
It was she, and she basically went, "Yeah, look, I know you've done a lot of theatre. Let's just take it as a given and fucking not say anything."
Beautiful.
I also skipped out on a friend of mine's wedding to hop on a motorbike, still in my wedding suit, to go to a different Weird Al concert on the Gold Coast. I made my best time from Brisbane to the Gold Coast on a motorbike to fucking get to that concert.
All I can hear right now is you're going to be so crushed when Weird Al's a sexual predator.
I absolutely am. Oh my god.
I would be, Dude was my hero when I was a kid. He was
Yeah,
great.
I didn't care about Louis C.K., but this George Takei thing, I'm like, God damn it. Fuck.
Jonathan, what about you? What's been making you happy?
I'm going to echo George and Scott about the election results. But to actually pick something specific, I have been binge watching the TV show *Halt and Catch Fire*, and I've just been really enjoying it.
Is it good?
I'm up to season 4, and while I thought the first season was a little weak and a little too Mad Men-y, the second and third seasons were just really good, and I think it's about computers and the internet and games in the 80s and 90s, and I just think that this is a time period that we really hasn't been portrayed much in media, and it's just really interesting for me.
Yeah, no, I've seen a few episodes. It's pretty good. I just, there's so much media right now.
Absolutely, it's
Too much media.
Also, speaking of Mad Men, creator of Mad Men too.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
And did you see the thing about the DC Comics head editor too?
Yeah, DC
No.
Comics head editor too.
Yep.
Maybe that's why they're hiring Brian Michael Bendis.
Yeah. I'm so sad that he's going to be leaving Jessica. See, that's something that's not making me happy, because Jessica Jones is a good comic, and seeing him leave that, I'm going to be sad.
Is he leaving? That's his comic.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with his comics at that point. I mean, Bendis is Bendis. Bendis has done a lot of stuff. I don't know.
Oh, also go see Thor 2. Thor 2 is fucking
Thor 2
baller if you haven't seen it.
was I saw Thor 2 Tuesday night because I didn't want to sit through the election results. I was too nervous.
Oh,
That's a good man. I didn't think about going to see a movie instead of watching
Yeah.
the election results all the time.
So I was just I'm piecing out. I'm going to the movies. By the time the movie's over, everything's gonna be done, so I don't have to sit there with this worry gnawing at my stomach. And when I came out, I was like, yes. And then I saw the magnitude of the yes, and I was like, double yes, and it was a good night.
Just on
I
that,
actually went to the Democratic Committee town party, and
nice.
I was everyone was sort of talking, and I'm sort of looking at my phone, looking at election results, and I'm like, hey, Lee Carter is up 16 points with 80% reporting. And I sort of looked around the room, and I'm like, I don't think anyone else is looking at this right now.
yeah,
I don't think everyone else is not. No one is freaking out nearly enough for the magnitude of this result. So, there's no way like everything else that's coming in would have to go 100% for Jackson Miller for him to lose. There's no way.
Yeah.
For me, I was just so. I think everyone was just so shattered after the presidential election last year, and I don't know about the rest of you, but I was listening to like 3 politics podcasts on a daily basis. I was listening to like the New York Times, NPR, and 538, and I was like, I would be refreshing the 538 tracking poll thing, and then after the election, I was just like, screw this, you can't predict anything, polls are useless, and so I just have had no idea to believe the polling numbers, and this Tuesday election just completely took me by surprise in a good way, and I'm still pretty hesitant to put all my faith in polls and predictive outcomes of politics.
The polls were actually more wrong in the Virginia election than they were in the general election. The general election polls actually predicted the outcome better than the Virginia election.
538 was extreme. Like, I was nervous that whole time going up to the election because it was saying there's a quarter chance we're gonna get Trump. I'm like, oh my god, a quarter, and then election day it was a third. I'm like, ah, and then it happened.
Yeah. Anyway, real quick, I was on Atomic Trivia War 9000, and we reviewed Thor Ragnarok, and you can see me, Jason, and Jason and Ro, me forgetting everything I know about Thor and only wanting a Planet Hulk movie, which is what they should have made.
Churba, what's that URL?
Oh, who the fuck are you talking about? I've never heard of these motherfuckers.
Atomic Trivia War people who haven't been on the show in like forever.
Well, if they had a URL, and I'm not saying they do, it would probably be something. It would probably be something along the lines of facebook.com/ATW9K, or, I mean, it seems like Richard Smith's kind of thing. So maybe it'd be simplysyndicated.com/shows/ATW9K.
Yeah, it could be, might be. Anyways, so last thing is the things that that gave me some joy this weekend. This week, first off, I got some Hot Wheels.
Nice. Oh, is that what
George.
you've been playing with?
George, yeah.
Nice. What you got? Is that a ND? Yeah, that's an ND, isn't it?
It's a little Miata.
Actually, there's something I'm surprised isn't on your jam list this week, Victor.
Well, hold on. I got a warthog too. What are you surprised? Before I say what else is on my list of things that made me happy, what do you think? What are you surprised is not on there?
You first, because it might be it, and that'll kill the bit.
Let's see. Geez, what was? Now you made me forget what I was going to talk about. Been working on my bike. That's been fun. Gotta mount this big honking battery to it. Ugh. That's gonna be great.
How much does that weigh?
This, I don't know. If I had to say, I'd say roughly about. I'd say this probably weighs about 10 pounds, give or take.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. Well, it's the rest of the speaker system that's really gonna add the weight. But working on that.
Are you adding a small child to your bike?
I'm adding about 26 pounds all told to my bike. If you do not follow Alan Denton, one of the writers for Sonic Boom, you should. He posts funny shit all the time. So, okay, so Churba, what is it that you are surprised is not on my thing?
Sonic Forces came out like 3 or 4 days ago.
I am 100% disinterested in Sonic Forces.
Well, it's probably because they finally actually managed to make a good Sonic game with Sonic Mania, and instead of being made by the Sonic alumni, it was made by a bunch of fanboys and a fucking Australian.
Well, Sonic Generations was good.
Actually, yeah, it was.
It was really good.
But I say
yeah,
these things
I'm
just
entirely
to hurt you.
disinterested about Sonic Forces, mostly because I'm waiting for the furries to finish their fangasm about it, and then maybe I'll catch it on sale on Steam or something.
Why can that character not translate into good games? I don't understand.
What do you mean?
Well,
What are you talking about there, Jonathan?
What you need to do clearly is just get an Australian to develop it for you, because I mean that's what happened with Sonic Mania, and it's the best Sonic game since the first one.
Well, it's the best classic Sonic game. Sonic Adventure 2 was kick-ass.
But like I would put Sonic up there with like Mario as one of the top tier mascots. And yet Mario, maybe it's because it's Nintendo, but there not only are there just AAA Mario games, but there's Mario Tennis and Mario Kart and all of this.
Mario Tennis was garbage.
Mario Golf, Mario.
Whoa!
Ah, man. Rockstar table tennis for life.
Did you just say Mario Tennis was garbage?
I believe he did.
Hey, I hated it.
Get the F out of here.
It was terrible.
Go fuck yourself.
Wait a minute.
Mario
No,
Tennis.
that's not how this works.
Man, we were almost done.
I'm sorry. This is my
we'll
fault.
have to agree to disagree about Mario Tennis. Mario Kart, though. Mario Kart's
I like
awesome.
this. I don't need to throw bombs. I just gently place them, and everyone else lights the fuse and fucking suffers the explosion for me. It's great.
Yeah. Mario
I don't know why I've been like a
Kart is
fucking
amazing.
praying mantis so much this show.
Man, I played a lot of Mario Tennis. Mario Tennis and the crew, like Rim, Scott, and all them, we would play Mario Tennis like constantly. Good times.
I will say this: Mario Party beats the pants off of Sonic Shuffle.
Oh my god, that's like two shitty things.
That's like saying a shit sandwich is better than a shit roll.
A shit sandwich is better than diarrhea soup. That's what it is.
I've never been able to get into any Sonic games.
Ah, what?
I've
ScoJo,
tried.
play Sonic Adventure 2. What
It's
is wrong
just
with you?
memorization, Victor. Who cares?
Yeah, I just none of them are like Mario. They're not good.
Ugh.
There's not art. They're just
can't
trying to be fast.
You can't see what's coming. You literally have to memorize it, and
What do you mean you can't see what's coming? Of course you can see what's
it
coming.
goes so
That's
fast.
Why there's
You
a
can't.
right-hand
You
side
have
of
to
the
memorize
screen.
it.
Oh, it's terrible.
See, I live for this because no motherfucker is going to be dragging Ty the Tasmanian Tiger because no motherfucker played it.
Isn't that supposed to be good? Oh, what's that one? What's that like platformer that no one played that everybody like says is like the hardcore good
Super Meat Boy?
like console one? No. I'm not talking about PC like Master Race games. It's like a tie. It's like some animal
Are you
person.
talking about like Mark of Cree or whatever it was?
You mean the Jaguar?
The Jaguar. No, I don't. Who knows?
Some animal thing. That's the only console I can think of that has an animal name on it. The Atari Jaguar.
Anyway, I'm a Sonic hater. So.
Yeah.
We'll leave on that note. That makes me happy. Hating on Sonic.
Victor is just like, my life is pain. Victor's like, welcome to the last FMPL ever because fuck these guys.
Thank you for allowing me to come onto the podcast.
It's been
For
great
the last
having you,
show.
for the last episode of Friday Night Partyline. Good night, everybody. Well, I'm gonna unfortunately be throwing myself into Steven Universe because 6 episodes dropped today.
And whose fault is that?
6.
Cartoon Networks. And as soon as I figure out what motherfucker's in charge of programming, I'm marching my ass down to Burbank to kick some ass. That's what I'm doing.
Wait, they showed 6 episodes today?
No,
What?
they released them onto their onto the CN app and the Cartoon Network website.
I can just imagine Victor rolling up and being like, how dare you release so much of this thing that I enjoy.
I will say this. There is video of me literally screaming at the Cartoon Network building.
I'm looking forward to
It was
that
for
one.
a shtick. Anyways. All right, well, thanks everybody for coming on the show tonight. You, the audience, you wonderful people, can catch us next week on
If Victor
acceptable...
lives.
If Victor doesn't die of an aneurysm, blood trickling out of his ear onto his fancy editing doodad here, then yes, if I live, you can catch us next week on Acceptable Vices. Good night, everybody.
Good night.